Alex Jason Kashipa. I am a creative, a marketer, so many things, a business development specialist, and also basically the in-house branding guy. I have about 6 to 7 years experience in working in marketing and brand development and business development. I've worked with brands like MultiChoice, DSTV, I've worked with Sunbird, and I've worked with African Parks. I worked in the tourism industry for almost 3 years before I came and settled here at TAF Foundation. Other than that, I've been a rapper, I've been a producer, I've been a guitar player, I've been a podcaster, I've been a lot of things. I've been a graphic designer even. So I have a lot of in-depth experience in terms of the creative industry in Malawi, especially the music industry. I will be taking this workshop in marketing and branding for creatives, basically you guys. I'm glad to hear that we have a brand strategist in-house as well. Hopefully you can pick up where I can go missing. And we even have, I think J2C owns a marketing agency, correct? The Creative Communications Agency. Yeah. So it's great. I think my work is going to be very easy here. So yeah, just to start, what basically I'm going to take you through is I want you guys by the end of this workshop to start thinking of yourselves as brands and products. Not just an artist, not just an event planner, not just a musician, not just a producer. I want you guys, after the end of this, to think of yourself as a whole business. I know a few of you understand what branding and marketing is, so I'm not going to teach you as if you would put this on it, right? I think for most of us, we understand what marketing is and what branding is. And essentially what I want is to connect those two things to you as an artist or a performer or as a creative and see how you can use it to develop yourself, right? Okay. So let me start my presentation. By the way, when I'm saying branding and marketing, I will deliberately leave out the digital marketing and branding part because you're going to have a full other session with a vis-à-vis expert who's going to basically take you through the digital marketing and branding side. I want to focus more on how you, as essentially a business, I'll be focusing more on how you can plan and outline your work. For most of you as artists or producers, I've basically interacted with most of you on your work. I've interacted with the Zumba Arts platform, so I am aware of what they're doing. I think you guys just sent me a message yesterday or the day before about your 2022 plans. So I do know most of you as an artist, and I've actually followed most of you as artists and performers and creatives on your different platforms. I think only Yang is the one that I've recently discovered he's an artist. So that's interesting, that's new for me. But for most of you, I know what you do, I've understood and what a good background of where you are as creatives. So hopefully this will make a lot of sense to you. Let's start with marketing. Can somebody give me a simple answer on what marketing is? I don't want the technical terms, I don't want the cha-changas. I just want to, what you understand marketing as. Anybody? You want to start picking on
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Basically, all the activities that surround the process of actually getting to a sale. So, yeah, I don't know if that was clear.
Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah? Does anyone else have a different one for me? No? We're going with that one, right? Yeah, it's pretty much that, right? Marketing is the process of you bringing yourself to the customer, to whoever your end user is, or whoever you feel your stakeholders are, right? Now, the issue that we have in the creative industry, and what basically makes it a bit difficult, is that who are we marketing to? As a creative, who is your audience? Yeah? I have a singer, She might say, if I asked you, who's your audience, what would your answer be?
If you ask me, are you asking me?
I am asking. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pathetically saying, who is your audience? Who listens to the Songstresses music?
I'd like to say, there's no specific. I don't have a specific.
You don't have a specific?
Yeah.
Then we've identified your first problem, which is a problem for most of you guys that I've seen in Malawi especially, right? I think somebody who I've seen who basically developed a niche, I would say, let me start with Mr. JTC over there, right? Mr. JTC basically identified his audience before he even built his product, right? He said, the German, I want to build a platform for people like me who also like reggae music from Malawi. So he built this platform, and that's who he connects to, that's who he's working with, and that's who basically his product is for, right? I'll go into Grisva. Grisva has had a similar problem. When he started off, he was not an EDM musician, right? He was just a producer who was making beats. I think the first EP that you made was for kids, basically playtime. From there, he's developed himself into basically Malawi's first official EDM artist. The problem that we have here is that he's marketing to the general Malawians, or selling his brand to general Malawians, who don't even understand what EDM is. Right? For some of you here, even when I say EDM, you don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's electronic dance music. So it's a whole genre of music that's been bubbling up. Punjabu, it's big, and he has a unique value proposition where he's Malawian, making EDM music that he incorporates things like medieval knights and stuff like that, you know? So he's got a unique, for Antwa Punja, I've seen his tweets, if you go on Grisva's tweets and you check out his timelines or whatever, the people who mostly engage with him are people from outside of Malawi, correct?
Yeah.
When he's talking music. It's mostly outside of Malawi, and even in Malawi, it will mostly be the producer community because they understand the ethic behind his work, etc., etc. So it's mostly the technical guys. You guys didn't even know Chris until you came here. Yes? Yeah, you did?
We did.
Okay. So, number one, as a creative, as a music creative, what you need to do before you even start thinking about marketing, branding, what kind of look cool, you have to think who your stakeholders are, right? Who your audience is. And when I say audience, I'm not talking about who listens to your music, yeah? We've got people like Episodes over here. He has the same issue that Grisva is having, but in a whole different genre, in hip-hop. The music that Episodes makes is of international level. It's etc., etc. You know what I mean? That's the level of music that Episodes does. I've not followed you for 5 to 6 years now. So I know that's where he's been coming from. But Malawians are not understanding our God's greatness. Why? Because the Malawi hip-hop scene has changed from... We went through a phase where we were copying people. Yes? So the better your accent, the better your beats sounded like Antoine Munjajanchani, the more you came up, basically. The more people listened to you. We moved from that phase to what I like to call the Gwamba era, which is when it switched from people just making hip-hop music to who can rap and teach you better, right? Yeah, so which is better. And we as Malawi, as an audience, we got stuck there. As an audience, not as musicians, but as listeners, that's where we got stuck. We say, this is the Malawian music that we listen to, the Malawi hip-hop that we listen to. If you're making something else, that's basically what's happening right now. So Episodes needs to identify the people who will listen to his music. People like me, who understand the culture of hip-hop, but also understand him as a creative. He's actually very creative and he's good at what he does. Yeah? But no, most people who listen to Malawi hip-hop, especially even the Screw gang, they will listen to international hip-hop and the Nasty C will come here and they'll fill up Mingo. But when Episodes does the same thing, and sometimes even better, they want episodes to be bundled up with 8, 9, 10 other artists for them to actually attend the show that episode for. You understand? We need to solve that, and that's one of the things that we need to be thinking when we're thinking of these workshops. So your target audience is not just people who would listen to your music, it's people who would interact with you as a brand, right? I have interacted with Tia Jean online before. Her vibe is basically what this is really her vibe. She's very quiet, she's very subtle, and then you listen to her music and you're like, what? Same person, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we need to understand our audience, and when we understand our audience, we need to understand who we are. Yeah? Episodes has decided, and definitively decided, he's a Malawian rapper who raps in English. He's definitively decided that. He's been unapologetic about that. Even until Thailand, I can remember his Karaoke, he was like, Zami. Yeah, I know how to rap, bro. You know? As a musician, you need to figure out who you are, even as a creative. When you say you're an event planner, I want to know what kind of events you do. Because event planners will wait.
So far, just done festivals.
Festivals. Yeah. So now you're basically defining yourself as a creative. You're a festival event planner. You see? Now you're getting to know yourself a little more. I mean, you might change. Later you might go into something else and you might say, actually, I prefer to start organizing weddings. I don't know. But as of now, your strong point would be when people ask you, what do you do? Or what kind of events do you do? You say, I'm a festival event planner. Right? Immediately, you by just saying those 3 words, I know exactly what you do and where your strengths are. Because I know, okay, you've planned events where there's a big crowd, where you manage a big audience, etc. You manage multiple artists, so there's different facets at the same time. If I've got an event where I'm looking at festival style, I know I can trust you with it. Of course, I'll have to go into detail. That's your brand. I'll have to go into detail, do some information search to see if what you say is actually true, and then, yeah, we start engaging. That should be what all of you do. Captain, let me tell you about Captain. Captain, I've known him, or rather known about him for how long?
Over 15 years.
Over 15 years. This guy's been making music for as long also. Yeah, man, I've known this guy for long. When he applied, I was like, hey, what's up? But it is what it is. And our jury ended up putting him in and he's here. So, for example, Captain has had an issue where he doesn't know what kind of artist he is. It's what I call the gift and the curse of a producer. When you're a producer, because you can make so much different types of sounds of music, you end up doing it all. What did I say?
Yeah.
So that's what Captain has been doing for the past 10, 15 years that I've known him as someone coming up in the industry. You know? This week he will come up with an Amapiano song. Next month he'll be giving you a hip hop song. The month after that he'll be giving you a jazzy Afro pop vibe. You know? That's Captain. And that's where I'm driving in on this because a lot of musicians in Malawi now lack that. Especially creatives even. They like that. They like saying, okay, I make this type of music. This is my brand, and I'm going to stick to it. Because in marketing, it's all about consistency. Yeah? That's what you need to do. You need to repeatedly keep telling people the same thing about yourself over and over and over and over again until they finally say, yes, Tandega is a festival event planner. Yeah? Yes, Episodes is Malawi's answer to Nasty C. Rizzo released an EDM album last month? The month before? He released an EDM album last month. 2 Malawians who don't know what EDM is. Right? Now his lead single, I think, was it the lead single? The one he did with Jushi? Yeah. That was the lead single, right? So his lead single, dope song, dope visuals, but Malawians don't get it. For me, if you feature Ellen Juju on your song, that song's meant to be unique.
Yeah.
Yes? It's just an undeniable fact. I know where Ellen Juju wouldn't. So that song should have been big. Like these guys should have known Grisva has dropped an album and has a song with an Njuji, right? It didn't go like that. Why?
Well, that's what you're asking?
I'm asking you.
Let me just quickly formulate
Alright, let me make it easier for you. It's just your audience. You didn't focus on your strategy, you didn't conclude with your audience what they listen to. I see what you were trying to do because you thought, okay, my lead single should probably feature a Malawian musician who's hot right now. Would they, people pay attention to it and it grows the attention to your album rather than the song. But people didn't get it. The story wasn't told right. You didn't consider your audience and what they listened to and what they've used to hearing Ella and Jushi on. They heard him on something very different. Yeah? And to them, it was kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's cool, but I prefer Ella and Jushi from Ella Zakazich. There's a strategy. In marketing, it's all about strategy, basically. It's all about you thinking through what you're going to do over the next few steps of your career or your product or whatever, so that you have a defined role. Yeah? So we're going to go into strategy for creators. Now, there's different kind of strategies that we're going to take. I'm going to go through a bunch of them, from market strategy all the way to distribution to product. So we're going to get a little bit intense, but just bear with me, right? So I'll start going into market strategy, market scope strategy, that we call it. There's different strategies that you can use as a creative, right? To basically find a place for yourself. So number one is called the single market strategy, right? Where you concentrate all your efforts, you concentrate them basically in one market. Yeah? So you songstress, you say you're not sure who listens to the music. But ideally, you need to start thinking, who is the kind of person you want to listen to your music? Yeah? Because then you build a community. Yeah? And that community is basically what you're going to sell to. Yeah? Grisva, same thing. Right now, you've kind of got a multi-market strategy, right? You've got people who listen to you and understand EDM from outside of Malawi, in the EDM community. They're engaging with you, etc., etc. And you've got the Malawian crowd, where you're trying to make sure that they also support you, because nobody supports somebody that is not supported at home. That's a fact. Yeah? Yeah. If somebody Googles you or comes here and they're saying, I'm looking for an EDM artist and nobody mentions you, that's not good. Yeah? So we all need to think about that. But single market strategy is, I would recommend it for somebody like Tia and Miriam, our songstresses. And I'm not saying that because you're women, right? I'm saying that because it's easier and more effective for you as creators to identify one community that will grow with you because of the kind of music that you make, right? And it's something that somebody has to connect with. So you guys would thrive in intimate settings where the audience is close to you and they're feeling the vibe of you. It's not festival level music where people just want to, jump up and down and dance. It's you guys make music that you want people to actually hear and listen to and understand. So you would very much so, basically, you guys would benefit from a single market strategy. Identify the kind of people who you want to listen to your music or you think would like to listen to your music and start building on that community. Serve that community wholeheartedly. It doesn't work for everybody, right? I wouldn't recommend to say you should have a single market strategy where you just focus on festivals, because that limits you, right? There's different kind of events that you could focus on. You just need to make sure who you're good at, or whichever ones you choose. But for artists who make intimate, soulful, kind of interactive music, because it's not really music, even young, the kind of music that he makes. It goes a bit Afro-pop sometimes, but for most of the time, because people appreciate his guitar playing, etc., etc. Yeah? Identify that market, serve it wholeheartedly. Also, yeah? One person I would say has done that well in Malawi would be Lawi. Lawi hasn't changed since it started. It might have changed a little bit in terms of maybe his vibe or the way that it looks, etc. But the kind of music that he makes remains the same. Yeah? It's guitar folk, Malawian guitar folk music. That's what Lawi makes. And he knew, okay, this is me. And this is where I'm going to go. He started off doing a lot of other things. The old Lawi was making some weird music also. A good example in this room is Mr. Reggae 265. He identified his tribe. He's got one single market. People in Malawi who love Malawian reggae music. That's it. And that's what he's been running with this whole time. And his platform is now picking up and making sense to people because he's been consistent with it. His messaging hasn't been obscured by sometimes adding some hip-hop to his website. No. It's been straight up, this is where you find Malawian reggae music. This is where you find Malawian reggae music. And he's built that community now. People know it. Yeah? Simple market strategy. Next, come and guess what the next one is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's when you're basically serving several distinct markets, which for most creatives, that's what we do. Yeah? We identify certain, for example, let me take Will, episodes. Episodes has basically got 3 sides to him, which I know of, right? Number 1 is a hardcore rapper. He will mess you up on anything. He's the goat of punchlines. That's the first episode. The second episode is the one that will basically mix with, sometimes I'm a big selection, etc., just so he can try and get to that audience, yeah? The Chichewa loving audience, yeah? And then the third episode is Mr. Lover episodes. When episodes talks about a chick, he talks as if Kudinkazi and a car studio. The rapper mom in the studio. That's what it sounds like. So those are the 3 phases of episodes that we know. That's a that's a multi-market strategy. Yeah. So maybe he wasn't doing it. I would zero. This is what I'm doing. I'm going for a multi-market strategy. But basically, that's what he's doing. That's where he's ended up. Yeah. So for me, when I listen to episodes, I know there's 3 things I can expect. A, he's going to mix a little bit of Shishawa and English because he's trying to do that now. B, he's either going to be talking about a chick, or C, he's going to be talking about how he's the greatest rapper alive. Yeah, those are, and rightly so, because the guy is good. I'm not gonna lie, the guy is good, yeah? So yeah, that's a multi-market strategy, where you identify several markets and you say, okay, this market serves unto our, yeah? Yeah. Good thing about that, you will reach a wider audience when you have a multi-market strategy, right? And in terms of episodes, I've only talked about him in Malawi. Because if you then take episodes out of the space, he's a Malawian rapper, let's call him instead a rapper from Malawi, yeah? We're now putting him on the same level from rappers in Zambia, rappers in South Africa, rappers in Nigeria, rappers in, we will say, yeah? With the other rappers is, so AKA will say he's not a South African rapper, he's a rapper from South Africa, yeah? But my AKA can go from South Africa to show. When Malawians go out of Malawi, Gabanga my show, have you seen the shows that we go to? I think it's only Tay Green and Namadi who have managed to do proper shows. You will see I'll give a good example of Janta. Janta will he does tours almost every year in South Africa. Yeah. And mostly when he goes to do these shows, it's him performing for other Malawians only. Malawians in South Africa, basically. They're the ones who call him up and say, I'm going to know so. Was that be? AK doesn't come from South Africa to perform for South Africans in Malawi. Yeah? Why? Where are we missing it? We can't export our people to go out. We're not thinking wide enough in terms of our strategy. That's why. We're thinking Malawi and we're closer to Malawi, which is fair because this is where we're from, this is where we live, right? And this is, those are the people that we basically interact with and make music for. But we're not thinking wide enough anymore. I remember I had a conversation with Episodes a few months ago, I think, where you were telling me, you're in the middle, I hope I'm not disclosing too much information, but you were in the middle of signing a deal with somewhere in Kenya.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So that they basically eventually would be in charge of your marketing and your promotion and your distribution. That's the way that we need to be thinking. Yeah? Start building relationships with people outside of our immediate community, being Malawi. which is how anyone who has been successful in that term, that's what they've done. Take green, namadingo. Anyone who you can think of who they are, dawa, nabloa, anafiga, punja. Yeah? That's what they did. They started building those relationships first. When they built those relationships, they then started to enter those markets by featuring with people who are already visible in those markets. Yeah? That's basically Take Green's strategy, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's his strategy. He goes, he looks at the market, he identifies who's hot in that market, does a song with them, he knows he'll get famous. Eh? If somebody comes here and I see a song with the episodes, or somebody's done a song with an artist from Zambia, I'll be inclined to listen to it because I'll be like, hey, who's this artist from Zambia who's coming up and collaborating with that artist? Yeah? Yeah. Which means that in episodes is going to have a show in the next few weeks. It brings that Zambian artist over, and that Zambian artist is also kind of dope, you know, like Wes and Young, stage Jijani, and Twadengega. And then they say, okay, let's figure out who is this Take Green guy. Can you Google him? And then they Google him, and they find out he's one of the biggest artists in Malawi. Yes? He's got that support. Immediately he's so venerable. When he walks up to a promoter and says, listen, I want to come to a show at your club, but you're going to pay me, they will actually do it. Because they know Take Green will pull a crowd. Yeah? We need to start thinking that kind of strategy. When I'm talking multi-market strategy, don't think just in terms of your audience, it's just different types of audiences. Think literal markets. Right? Yeah. There's a young lady I know, her name is Tamanda. I can't remember her last name, but she is one of the best festival producers in Malawi. She's worked with, she was basically running Lake of Stars the time that it was up. She would usually be in charge of either artist liaison or actual stage management. She does the Bushfire concert. You guys know the Bushfire concert? It's in South Africa. It's huge, sponsored by MTN. It's a huge thing, you know, and she works on that. Yeah.
She the one with, she did.
She was around?
She still is around.
Yeah, she's around. She's in Malawi now. But yes, the same
She's
thing.
in bed.
That one. The girl who sang in bed. Yeah.
So
You know, she's not a person. She's not a person over there, but her work has spoken for her, and she's basically just been doing that, pushing to get contacts in other places. Her CV, but and to a woman in South Africa and organize a concert. And that's the way you're gonna be thinking. You can't just limit yourself to Malawi. It's a good place to start, but we gotta go hard. Yeah. Yeah. Now, the thing with multi-market strategies is you need to be careful with your audience selection. Eh? You don't want to end up putting yourself in front of different audiences and presenting different things. Where you still have to be the single brand. You're just in different markets. Yeah? Some people, that's where they mess up. Yeah? Which is, I think, the same dissonance that, for example, I was mentioning about Captain. Because he's able to, he's a talented producer and musician, and he's able to. I'm as Afro-pop music, so now we know Captain as an Afro-pop artist, right? And then tomorrow he'll bring out a banger of a hip-hop song, and now we know Captain is a hip-hop artist. And then the week after that he's got a house song. Now Captain is a house artist. He's jumping between different genres, which is good. It's admirable that you can go, that you can do that. But his audience and his market ends up being confused. Eh? Because we still yet to have a single thing. You would need to upgrade with, okay, Captain, yes, he does hip hop, he does Tanjani, he does Tanjani. Who he is as a musician, as an artist, is this. As a brand, is this. So that's the problem. Sometimes, as creators, because we find it easy, we just change. Basically, we can change whatever we want about ourselves. It's not just, we can basically become a different artist tomorrow if we wanted. Yeah? But we need to be consistent. So even when you're going into different markets, it doesn't mean you have to change your product. Yeah? What it means is you just change the way, you're changing how people see you, not your actual product. Yeah? You don't want to be an event organizer today for festivals, and then tomorrow you're saying, no, actually I only do weddings now. And then the next day you're like, I'm a wedding messiah, guys. I'm only organizing small intimate concerts for artists, you know? people won't be able to engage with you because they're not sure what you will deliver. Yeah? Graceful. We can be EDM artists, but what makes you Malawi's EDM artist? We need to start thinking of that in terms of your branding, right? Yeah, because EDM artists, once you get out of the space of Malawi, EDM artists are Ibongwe. Yeah? And now you need to think of how you're going to differentiate yourself from all these other EDM artists. And the fact for me, you being an EDM artist from Malawi is a big difference. Yeah? So let's start thinking in terms of our brand. How we're going to use that over the next year to make sure that you're differentiating your space yourself in the EDM space, not just Malawi. Yeah? Yeah, that's how we're going to grow. I mean, you're signed to an international record label. For Malawi, you're going to use that as leverage in Malawi. You understand? Because no one's going to doubt you when you tell them, "Good, I'm actually signed to an international record label. I'm on the roster." So if you rock up and you're quoting them in dollars, and they say, "What?" You're like, "Yeah, the management team handles things in dollars." You understand? Immediately, the way that people perceive you in Malawi will be different. Kunjago, if you rock up and say, "I'm charging in dollars," they'll be like, "Okay, how much?" Yeah. Let's see, where were we? We're moving on to the next one. Total market strategy. Can anyone guess what that is?
Do single and multi.
Yes. Basically, a total market strategy, I'll read it out for you here, is serving the entire spectrum of the market by selling differentiated products to different segments in the market. Yeah? In terms of products, if we come out of the creative space and then we say products, we're looking at people like, let's say, Universal Industries, right? They've kind of got like a total market strategy because they do snacks, Avanga crisps, Avanga sobo, and all these other fizzy drinks, you know what I mean? They basically say, okay, you want everything and we're coming for everything. So here's your products, you guys just buy. Yeah? As creatives, it's hard for us to do that. We end up having the issue that Captain, I'll say, he has a total market strategy. He's like, no, I can do everything, so I'm going to do everything. Yeah? And in the end, it's very hard for him to sell because people are still not sure about his brand and what it stands for. Yeah? As opposed to, like, if you listen to her songs immediately, like the first 30 seconds, you know what kind of artist she is and what kind of audience she's looking for. Yeah? Immediately. Because that's the kind of music she makes. And she wouldn't go for a total market strategy. She'd be wasting her time. Everyone should be listening to her music. She'll be wasting her time. She's got a unique soulful sound, and that's what she's aiming for. Therefore, we need to put her in a space where people appreciate that. Yeah? I mean, I don't know if you guys caught the last episode of Something Radio, with Prince about it. Yeah? Where he was saying we have a problem in music right now where women feel that they're basically owed a listen just because they're a woman in music. Yeah? Which is true. There's a strong vibe about that. I've worked with a lot of female musicians and they don't work as hard as their male counterparts sometimes. Yeah? The way that they push music, the way that they promote the music, I don't know whether it's Kodi Timakabuli Mwopa to put yourself out there like that as differentiate to men, we don't care. We're in a situation where women feel like we need to listen to them because they're a woman. That's the conversation that was being had on Something Radio. Yes? And I don't think that's entirely true, but I just think women are not finding themselves their own brands. Yeah? They're not finding, the musicians in Malawi, the female musicians, are not finding their own brands. Instead, they rely on Kodi, I'm a girl who sings. That's the story. If you look back at, think of top 3 artists, female artists in Malawi, if there is such a thing. Top 3 female artists in Malawi right now. What is their story? What is their branding? What sets them apart as an artist? Not as a woman, but as an artist. Hard to say, yeah? Yeah. You need to get out of the space where we feel we're owed something. As a creative, it's very easy to be in that space. Yeah? You feel when you've created something by yourself, in your mind, all the way, guys. It turns out to be a song, or if you created an event. You feel when people should applaud you for it. That's not the case. Nobody owes you to clap hands for you. We need to do something that, no matter what, even if people don't like it, or it's not their thing, they'll be looking at it and saying, kumafana yamatabe. And you need to consider that in terms of yourself as a brand, what kind of stage, what stage you're at in your product life cycle, to my product life cycle. Even for brands to partner with you and say we're partnering with one of Malawi's first female producers, you know, and we all know it's like there's a big female empowerment drive right now. Yeah. So, and in that space, there's really no one championing. So think about that. Okay, so first in strategy is basically entering the market before others, yeah? When you find yourself in a position where it hasn't really, there might be even Antwo that are doing it, but are simply not promoting it, yeah? For you, you can position yourself with Malawi's first EDM album. I want to put a bug and figure to Kumaga Ghana with the Christmas album might be the first album to win a Grammy in Malawi. You understand? That means you build a community that is trusting you fully. Yeah? And one of the things that's working for you is the first in strategy. Because you're practically the first person, I think, who's positioned himself as an EDM musician. In Malawi, no. People have tried it, but they didn't position themselves within an EDM or an EDM artist. They just maybe made one song that was EDM kind of thing. But you have set yourself within I'm an EDM artist, and this is what I do. Yeah? So, the first in strategy is always about risk. Because you're doing something that nobody else has pretty much done or promoted before, right? Yeah, even for Reggae 265, I think you're the first platform in Malawi to focus on reggae. It will just be reggae. And once again, that's a lot of risk. Yeah? As much as the reggae community is there, the reggae community that we know is not very internet savvy. Yeah? It's not heavy on going online to download songs or for look for music. Which means you have had to push and practically, when you're creative and pushing your own stuff, because you're practically talking to yourself most of the time. Yeah? So first in strategy requires heavy promotion because you always have to basically educate your market before they adopt you. Yeah? Okay. And then we move on. The second one is called early entry strategy. Yeah? Early entry strategy is basically, now that Grisva is on the market and he is the EDM guru of Malawi, Diesel comes out real quick behind him. Second. Not only for Grisva, people have adopted it. It's still early in terms of product and promotion. It's still early. He's still basically here. He's educated the market for me, and the market now knows who is Malawi. There's Malawian EDM artists, and then I follow that. I follow up with him and say, Ines don't know about the EDM. Yeah, that's early market. Ababa, once my man starts, I assume probably right after these workshops, his platform is going to get a lot of interest. Yeah? Because we know what is unique and he's done it first. Guaranteed there's going to be somebody who follows it up with something else. Similar. Why is it what? reggaemw.com. You know? But that's one of the things. And then the thing with people who are early entry strategists or who come in after the leader or the first person is good. They work based on what you have done. They innovate on what you have done. Yeah? So you have Reggae 265 and it's working. People go on there, they download music. Right now you don't have a lot of editorial content. If I wanted to come in as a competitor for you, that's what I would add. I would make exactly Reggae 265.com. Wibanga Mozi. All I would add is interviews with artists, music videos, and other content like that, which is the next stage for your product. That's the way that you should be going.
I get that.
Yeah. You know, because if I came in and I added all those things into reggaemw.com, Reggae 265 is going to die a natural death. Because I've basically built on what you have, and already you've put in the work, I've built up on what you have, and basically make it better, innovate on top of that. Yeah? So that's what, when we talk about early entry strategy, that's basically what you do. You enter a market that, yes, maybe it's in infancy, but you innovate on top of that. Yeah? When you drop as Malawi's first female music producer, immediately, probably I'll give it, who was run the promote Bobo 3 months. Within those 3 months, there'll probably be 4 or 5 female music producers that will come out. Because A, you're not going to give basically confidence to that community. But say, actually, if we went out there like that, it wouldn't be a problem. And now, they do it and they just have hundreds and hundreds of beats at their home on their hard drive, you know? They're not giving them anywhere when they know that they're actual producers. So, expectfully, you're going to get a whole community giving confidence to it. If she's a female music producer and she's being successful, then so can I, yeah? So you have someone following you right off the bat. So us as innovators or creatives, when you know what your first entry in the market, always expect there's going to be somebody who's going to come and innovate on top of what you've done, or come and follow you basically. It could be someone who does exactly what you do. Or they'll just come up because you've given confidence in the market and you've already educated the market for them. Yeah? So always expect that. Grisba, I have no doubt by the end of this year there'll be somebody else who's also an EGM. And I know this year ends in a month, but guaranteed. Yeah. I've anticipated. There's already some people out there who are now saying they're artists. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, the next one. Laggard entry strategy. Okay? So that's when laggard just means the late entry. Yeah. When you enter the market at the end of its tailspin, you know what I mean? The market always comes up and then the plateau. It doesn't continuously grow. And then sometimes it starts going down, right? So there's some people who come into the market only after it's hit that spot and it's plateaued. Before, I can tell you before like your group, your generation of rappers came up, right? People weren't really rappers or putting it out, putting their rap like that. Before generation, and I'm talking you, Gwamba, Matse, all of those, right? Yeah. There were a lot of people, yes, who were singers or rappers or whatever, but nobody took that as a serious career. Until these guys, and they started showing good you can get money off your music, etc. Yeah? People then started showing up and saying, Ineswara. Before you knew it, I'm telling you, I went to university with Captain. Me and him were making money, and it was enough money. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough money. We were making money offsetting beats to our fellow students, and even we set up our studio in his room, even. Everybody wants a piece of something that's making money. So the late entry sometimes, it can be good for you because you would have learned what the market is. Yeah? Which is basically what Tay Green did. I know for us we will see Tay Green as if he's an early entry, but he's not. Tay Green is just very, very good at copying success. Yeah? He knows how to replicate success. So he looked, at the time that Tay Green was like becoming famous, which is I think the time he that song, right? That song blew up because he took the strategy, and to South Africa at the time. South Africa and Nigeria, the hip hop was also just coming up at the time. Yeah? So he basically just watched how these South Africans and Nigerians were doing it, and he figured out, okay, A, I need to have a dope video. B, I need to put it on Channel O. I need to get on Channel O. C, I need to brand myself as an artist. And Tay Green went hard on the branding. He had HD photos before anybody had HD. That's right. He went hard on the branding. And basically for him, he's a late entry in music overall outside it. It was a late entry. But now I was working for these international artists, and they decided, okay, if we're going to do this, I have to do it this way. Even the Nyao thing. Tegrin really doesn't take the Nyao thing seriously. But he knew what he had to brand himself somehow to be uniquely Malawian. And he found the Nyao thing, right? And to be honest, if he was really authentic about it, it would have grown in terms of the Nyao, the Nyao influence on his music. Yeah? I would have expected for it to grow a lot more, and it's actually pretty much a genre of music now because he coined the term Nyao music. Yeah? But what he did is he just used that to make himself, to brand himself as a unique artist. Kunjago, they'll look at him and they'll say, that's uniquely Malawian. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool. This guy comes up on stage with guys dressed in rags and stuff and start dancing to hip-hop music. That's kind of cool. Kunogo, there was nobody who was, and I don't understand how nobody thought of it before. Would you guys, let's get some guys, dress them up as Nyao and they're going to come on stage with me. For us, that's cool because it's unique. We are friends with Malawi. Yeah?
Yeah.
And we are proud when we see Tegrin perform on international stages and he's got the Nyaos with him, etc., etc. So for us, there's a sentimental value that he added. For the internationals and people who were seeing him then were saying this guy is new and kind of, is kind of unique. It's because he had the chance, he was exposed enough to review the strategies that people were using outside, and he had the resources to actually execute. And for ideas and ideas, I'm a winner. Ideas on ideas on ideas. We all have ideas, but it's about the execution and having the resources to actually do what we want. Yeah? Yeah. So it's always, I think, one of the key things here, I should tell you as creatives, is we need to stop our culture of saying we're going to do things. Yeah? As creatives, we have ideas, and because we're creatives and we want to share, we're only human, we want people to understand when we have ideas. So one big item that I see among creatives is sharing things that they haven't done yet. I'm going to juggle, you know what I mean? It's good to put it out in the universe, but when you keep saying you're going to do things that never happen, yeah? I'm going to drop an album this year. I got busy, man, work and stuff, you know how it is. Episodes, how long have you been waiting for your album? Yeah, stop putting it out there like that. Because what you do is when you put things out there that you haven't executed yet, you're giving somebody else the idea, essentially. Yeah? And if that person has resources and the drive to actually execute, you while you're thinking about your idea, somebody else is doing it, more. Yeah? Those are the ones that become late entries who overtake early entries. Because they've watched you, they've seen where you're failing, they've seen where you're succeeding, and they move on quickly. Yeah? Okay. So yeah, the laggard entry or the late entry is usually an imitator. Entering the market with a Me Too product, but with unconventional marketing strategies. Tegrin. Ed? Tegrin wasn't necessarily making the best hip-hop music at the time. Yeah? He wasn't necessarily making the best African music at the time. But he came with a product, Mayua and Mauchuga, and people in South Africa making money out of the same music. Me Too are going to do it. But uniquely, he had to find a selling point to make himself different from the other people. The Nyao thing. And now is Malawi's token artist. For example, when people say, I want an artist from Malawi, the first person that they're going to bump into is Kwathu. You know? Yeah. We've failed as a creative industry in Malawi to market ourselves to the level where, to support each other to the level where anybody can get to their Tegrin. Yeah? Tegrin basically had to use a lot of money to get to where he is because he knew Malawians weren't going to support him to that level. He had to make it to that level first, and then Malawians started saying, hey, Tegrin did all. Or we weren't going to accept what he did all before he showed us the all. You should understand? Yeah. So when you're late in the market entry, yes.
So sorry to interrupt you. You know how in the Malawian drill scene, UK drill scene, there was that song Kalimoy. That kind of, for me, that was like the first nice drill song from Malawi. Would you say when Tigrin came through with his, what was it called? That was late entry.
That was like
very.
yeah, hey, that was a Me Too pool. You know what I mean? One went away to South Africa, right, and Zambia. Why not? I don't even remember that.
Wasn't it the Billboard?
That was also, hey. Yeah, so for him, he was probably trying to make sure in terms of marketing, because when he's talking to the people in Zambia and they're saying, okay, you want to come here and do what? Who are you? All you have to do is say, Chief, just check out my page right now. I just dropped a whole song. People were talking about it, the video, people were talking about it. He had a whole hashtag, which means his impressions went up, whatever. And for him, he uses that as leverage to get what he wants. No? While the rest of us are talking about, oh man, I would rap better than him. Yeah. Yeah, but good call. That was exactly what I was talking about. Alright, so we're going to now move on to product positioning. This is also very difficult for us as creatives. Yes? When I talk about product positioning, I'm talking placing a brand in the part of the market where it will be favored, or it will be seen more favorably compared with your competing brands. Yes? Now how do you do that as a creative? If you're as creatives. I want to pick on songstress.
Sorry, can we get one point?
How do we as creatives set ourselves apart? Positioning. Yes? A good example is, I'm going to keep going back to Reggae 265 because it's a prime example. There's a lot of other art on our website, where you can download music. Yeah? His positioning is good with a website for the reggae fans, the Malawi reggae fans. That's great positioning. He already has, immediately, he has a product that works with an audience, set audience. But it's more difficult when it comes to you episodes. How do you set yourself apart as a rapper?
I think mostly, in Malawi's case, I think the thing that sets other artists apart, despite them doing the same kind of music, is quality. As you have said about Tiger, how he comes off top videos, even his production, production. So I think that's one thing that also sets you apart, the production, the audio, and the video production.
That's absolutely true.
But when you get to a point where everybody's got good quality now,
that's where you have to find a different positioning strategy. We can't, it's good if we go to them, everyone is just saying, you know what, we just want to develop dope stuff. Yeah? Dope videos, dope music, dope production, then you say you color dope. But you need to differentiate yourself as an artist. I'll give you an example of Casper Invest, right? Casper Invest basically positioned himself as the ghetto hip-hop. Like hero. What did they say? In Kwathu, South Africa. If you ever know about the fact that the guy filled up a stadium at 25. That's mad. A whole stadium in South Africa. What did they say? His positioning has always remained the same. I'm from the ghetto, I'll never stop being ghetto, and I'll always make music that transcends into the ghetto. And that's videos. Even when Casper Invest makes luxury rap music, which it does, I'm a figure out. Yes. Komano, it's always Madama when you I made it. Yeah? That's been his positioning up to now. And he's gotten to the point where now he's got a shoe brand. He's got a clothing label, and now he's dropping that Don Briado, it's like champagne or something. For him, because he kept in that lane, that's how he got most of his deals. Even when he got rich, and that's the difference between him and AKA. AKA is very popular and he's very good at what he does. Wow, I'm going to even though people like his music, etc., and that's been AKA's positioning, even when he was young in that other little group of his. That's his positioning. Our friend Casper was for the people. That's how Samsung ended up giving him deals. That's how FNB Bank ended up giving him deals, because they know it was mostly like an artist. His positioning, Panobo, is goody, he's for the people. And that's his product positioning as a brand. Electric is for the people. He makes music that resonates for the people. Yeah? So you won't catch him even when he makes a love song, it's not dirty. You understand? That's his product positioning. Yeah, he's a clean dude from Malawi who makes good music.
Well, I also take some time. I've seen this in, I think we'll keep mentioning because I've seen it in China that sometimes as an artist, maybe just realizing your main strength.
Exactly.
Focus.
And focus on that.
Yeah.
The guy just turned up and he said, guys, we are big heads. and from there, that's all he's been doing. Living like a famous rapper. That's all he's been doing. Even this music that he makes, I don't know, maybe I've never heard a Santi Green song.
That's true.
Yeah.
You never heard a Santi. It's always upbeat music, and that's how he's positioning himself. Yeah? Yeah. I ain't got problems. Straight up. Straight up. Okay, so So here's how he's brought up a good point to say, you as a creative, as a business, and I still don't know who we think of ourselves as businesses now, right? Immediately, once you decide either I'm a business and I'm going to handle myself as a brand, as a business, review yourself honestly. Figure out your strengths and figure out your weaknesses. And then look at the market and say, where is the gap right now in the market which my strengths can fill? Yeah? If I was still rapping right now, I would have taken the whole drill thing to the next level. How is it good we're building a Malawi UK drill scene and I've not heard a drill song featuring somebody in the UK? How? I mean, isn't that just, And it doesn't, and you know the thing with Malawi, it doesn't have to be something. I'm not saying go and get RD on your track, you know what I mean? Go man, put your vibe on YouTube budget and just search for the drill artists in the UK. You will find that you're getting a What in ISO is going to come up, ISO is looking for a vibe to get onto, you know? And you just link with them and say, I said, yeah, I've got this song. Don't pay, don't charge you. Again, I don't know if I'm going to charge you. If you go for the big heads, yeah, they're going to charge you. Omano, guys like that, they're just happy for the opportunity. So you feature somebody from the UK and then you send that to Joy Natural and Made on Monday. And Joy Natural presents this new song. Guys, I've got this new song by episodes featuring one from UK. Immediately people are like, huh? And by the way, from UK, they find I guess I'm coming soon. You've called When they say, you need to be clever about your positioning. Right now, the hip hop game in Malawi is drill. And I think it's going to be like that for another 6 months or so until something turns up. It's going to be drill. The hits that are going to come out of hip hop are going to be drill songs.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that. You just need to figure out what's the best subject for your drill song, and that's it. Well, it must be for the most part. Yeah. So in terms of when you're reviewing yourself as a product, you need to think your strengths. So I'll look at you and I'll say, I didn't catch your name.
Kevin.
Aha! How did I forget? You're Victor's favorite artist. He couldn't stop talking about you. But yeah, you have got also a very unique position right now because you do almost, when I saw you, I thought early stage Namadingo. And you said, when I listened to your music and I saw what you've been doing, I thought early stage Namadingo before the, you know? And you've got a unique position with the space and there's no one filling that space right now. You know what I said? So you have the unique opportunity to even do exactly what Namadingo did. Yeah. What you do is you just And I can tell you right now, maybe just go on like Vicious Namadingo's Facebook page and start going back to like 2011, 2012 and see what he was doing then, and you do the exact same thing now, you will blow up. Because you know, but this works. Namadingo was already proven, but that the strategies that he was using at that time work. Look into it, review, and figure out your positioning. Oh, and then we're really okay. Now, Namadingo has strengths here, so my strengths are here, and here. Where we together, the up and the up and the up. So let me take advantage of that. I'll tell you something. Namadingo started blowing up even more when he started dressing nicer.
Yeah.
Was that right? Simply by changing his dressing, immediately people started liking him more, people started listening to him more, and people started seeing him as a brand, a more serious brand even more. Why? Namadingo was Samba. It must mean he's making money. You know, people will give money to people who look like money. Yeah, if you don't look like money, you ain't getting money. That's a fact. And Tama would did that. Even if you do have the money, and Tama would did that. So, as artists, that's one strong point that you should start thinking about as creatives. It's about your appearance. It doesn't mean we're losing Gucci Prada every day. No, that's a lie. But it's just about you presenting the best version of you possible every time you're out there, right? Just present the best version of you possible. Even people, the way that they interact with you. You know? This guy, you'll see how people will change. And you'll see how his music even will blow up. Just because I'm a pharmacist.
That's what I get him.
It could be something as simple as that. Positioning yourself doesn't have to be hard. Yeah? There's people out there who position themselves simply based on what they wear. Even the slippers, guys. They know that I can't remember this guy's name, he's from Tanzania. His thing is I'm gonna wear my slippers. He doesn't wear shoes and journey, his branding must be Panama slippers. And that's become like, for him, it's a place where he's become known for. Yeah? He's a good artist, it makes fair enough good music. But just because he's got this unique little slippers thing going on, people pay more attention to it. So do that for yourselves. Yeah? As a creative, start thinking, how do I position myself? On the worksheet that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share with you really how you can basically develop your positioning statement. Yeah?